If you know your website needs some attention and you don't have a lot of time, where should you focus first? I've got 3 topics for you today, 3 areas that I think are the most critical to start with if you aren't sure where to start. Hi, I'm Appy. I'm a website advisor at iCodeHappy and the founder, and I love to help people get websites that work for them and do the things they need to do to make sure that their website is working well for their small business, for their clients, and for them. So let's dive into the 3 places to start if you aren't sure where to start updating your website. The first place to start is at the top of your homepage. Maybe that's expected, with your first heading on your website. So that first heading on your website, some people call it the hero section, but it's at the top, usually under your navigation. A lot of times you have a big, beautiful picture or image, at least some big empty space and a big headline. And that headline is a little bit like a billboard that says, hey, this is what I do. And so when somebody comes to your website, they immediately know I'm in the right place and I should keep looking, or this isn't what I'm looking for. I'll head to the next place. If you've ever driven by a billboard or a business with a sign and you couldn't read the sign, or maybe you could read the sign and you had no idea what the business did after you read the billboard or the sign, how likely are you to stop? Probably not too likely. And that's a little bit the same with your website. If somebody comes to your site and you have something kind of generic up there that says, we make people happy, okay, am I in the right place? I'm looking for paint supplies because I love to paint and that makes me happy. Okay, that's great. But maybe the top should say paint supplies for the person who loves watercolors. I don't know anything about painting. But the idea is that the very first heading on your website, that's critical to making sure that people know in a very few words what you do. Can you say everything about everybody you serve and all the places they are in your journey in that very first heading? No. A few critical words to the critical audience, to the most likely person or the person that you want to talk to the most. That's where that goes. If your business is evolving, then that heading evolves. For me, I started out as a website designer. So that went first. And I started out with WordPress. Then I started offering other platforms. So I went from WordPress designer to multiple platforms designer and builder. And then I moved to a website consultant. So that stayed on my website for a little bit. Now I'm a website advisor as I've continued to move into helping people fix and work on their websites. So as your business evolves and grows, if you pivot, anything that makes that heading more relevant, check on that every little bit or as often as things change or that heading would need to change in your business. That's going to help people not only find your website, but know that they belong there. And so then stay and look for what they need on your website. Make sure that you have the call to action that's appropriate for that heading. Make sure any visuals, branding that needs to be updated. Make sure that hero section is the best representation of your business that you can make it. Okay, what is number 2? The second thing to keep updated on your website, keep track of fairly frequently, is content freshness. Okay, not an air freshener, but kind of similar. You don't want your website to get stale, to feel stale. And how can you keep it fresh and feeling fresh? The first thing is anything that's time sensitive. Things with dates like sales, things that involve seasons like Christmas or Easter or any kind of holiday or seasonal content, that whether that's a sale or whether it's just content. Now, should you delete the blog post that you created at Christmas time last year? No, that's not the idea. Your blogs, they can be seasonal by nature, and that's okay. We expect for there to be a rhythm and a season to content, and we expect there to be older content, and we expect to see newer content. So don't go back and delete blog posts that are from other seasons. But if you have a seasonal image or seasonal announcement on your homepage or on your main shop page and it doesn't fit there anymore, then it's time to move on from that and update that. Make sure that your website fits your current season of your business. So anything that's dated, your copyright year, anything that's a sale that's past, anything, like I said, seasonal, those kinds of things. Check on that and make sure that it didn't get overlooked or not taken down when needed. I have to set myself reminders for those kinds of things or I will miss them. The next item for freshness is relevance. So time sensitive, relevant. How can things become irrelevant on your website? Well, if you have offers that aren't accurate anymore, maybe the offer has changed or evolved or is not available, or a product that's gone, those kinds of things that aren't relevant anymore, they need to take a hike off your website. That will help your user to get more out of your website because what's there is relevant to them and they can purchase it with confidence that that is what they need and that you're going to deliver that as expected. The final piece of freshness is connection. Maybe that seems a little bit weird, but what I'm talking about is there can be things that might cause a disconnect with someone who comes to your website and then hopefully continues to interact with your business. How would that happen? I mentioned in a different video about your brand photos being 5 years old. Well, I have brand photos that are 5 years old, but they're relevant. They still show me and my business. They depict that accurately. They still reflect my personality and my brand. They don't look too much different. No comments. I might be a little bit further on the other side of the hill, but I don't look too much different yet. So if somebody were to see my brand photos and then I meet them in person or on a Zoom, they'll still be able to recognize me. There's not that moment of disconnect where, whoa, who's this? That kind of disconnect, if your business has taken a turn or a pivot and what you talk about as your mission in your about page or on your website, if you have pivoted and there's something different that you're offering, that can be a disconnect. So look for those places where your audience is connecting with you, with your offers, with your purpose, with your vision for your business. And then see if things have changed to the point where if they talked to you, there would be a point of disconnect between your website and what's really going on in your business if they sit down and visit with you. So those are 3 things: time sensitivity, relevance, and connection. Make sure that those things are staying fairly current on your website. Day to day, no, we don't have time, and so far we don't have anything automatic that will go in and just fix those things for us that I'm aware of anyway automatically. But periodically, that is something to take a look at. The final item that I recommend updating as part of these 3 critical items is your policies First up, most businesses need a privacy policy. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. In a lot of areas, whether it's in your area or whether it's in the area of the people you serve, which can also count, get the legal advice you need. A lot of websites need a privacy policy. That's something that the laws continue to change, and that's a responsibility that we as business owners have to make sure that we keep up with that. So if you haven't looked at it in a while, maybe check on that and make sure that you have all the necessary pieces for whatever your responsibility is as far as a privacy policy. Also in the legal area, terms and conditions, what people can and can't do with your website and the content on it. All kinds of things that, again, I'm not a lawyer, it's not my area. So check into that and get the legal advice that you need for whatever legal policies you need. There's several others that could be required or recommended for you, and that is something to pay attention to, from cookie policies to all kinds of other elements that might need addressed. Then also in the policies arena, your business policies, your refund, return, shipping, anything that governs how people are going to interact with your business. That is also something to do a quick refresh on, make sure that everything is as you continue to want it to be. And the final piece is any contact information that you offer. If you are a retail store and you've updated your phone number, if you have a new email address for people to contact you or a different contact form, for local businesses that have a physical store that you want people to come see you, I highly recommend making sure that you have your address in a place that is easy to find. I recommend your footer, contact page, whatever else. Just make sure that however you want people to engage with you, you have made that as easy as possible for them to do so. All right, so those are the 3 things for updating your website. If you haven't looked at it in a while, need a place to start. Your heading on your homepage and your general first section of your homepage, your content freshness and any seasonality or time sensitivity, relevance, connection, and your policies, anything legal or that applies to the policies and the functioning of your business, and your contact information. If this has been helpful and you'd like to keep going, I have something for you. It is a freebie that's a quick reference guide to how often to update your website. So these things that we've been talking about what to do, they're in a quick checklist form that you can print and check off for your website, and know how frequently it might be helpful to do this for your business, depending on what kind of business you have. You're welcome to download that and join me on my weekly newsletter, where you'll get weekly website tips for free. And I appreciate you watching. Come back and see me again.